Hi, friend. Sorry, some technical difficulties there. I added some keyboard shortcuts that I was testing earlier, and I guess I forgot to unmute myself. So it's like, nothing's coming out. But anyways, welcome. I'm so excited. We have so much to talk about. Kind of an overwhelming amount of information to talk about, honestly. Which is why we're starting a little bit later than we're usual, because I felt like I had to like process a little bit more and get some stuff gathered together for our discussion. We're gonna go, so we have all the new information for the new Dominion 5v5 capture point game mode coming to Spellbreak in Chapter 2. We've also got all the information about the new League's rank system that's coming, how that's gonna affect matchmaking. Well, some of the details about the matchmaking. We know the matchmaking details kind of for the league system. We don't totally know all the details about matchmaking in general for like pub lobbies, but we should hopefully be getting that information pretty soon. So I feel like we should just kind of dive into things, but before we do, I do want to just go over this week's schedule really quick. So obviously, we're trying to standardize in this 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. So pretty much, unless I can help it, the stream is going to be in that time for now, and then we'll kind of feel out over time if that works good for everyone. If we need to like go a little bit earlier, hesitant to go a little bit later than that, just because it gets really late for the EU and UK folks, but. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Spellbreak. Thursday we're going to be playing Splatoon 2, and if there's any more Spellbreak news or teasers, I honestly don't know what else they could be teasing. I thought we were going to get like last week, like long drawn out drips of information about leagues all this week, and then the leagues post on Friday is what I was expecting, but again, they're on their own schedule. So and then Friday, I made this before we knew we were gonna get all this leagues and Dominion news earlier in the week like this. So I left it as a Friday stream as a mystery stream. It's gonna be a variety stream of some sort. It might be more Splatoon. Who knows if there's like, if so chapter 1 officially ends in just like 2 hours 45 minutes. So if this stream goes long and we hit that time, and who knows, what if Leagues is like in the game or something crazy, then we'll make Friday a Spellbreak stream. But regardless, if there's Spellbreak news, we're probably going to talk about it at least a little bit, no matter what the game of the day is. And then for any bonus or weekend variety streams, go ahead, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, or you can follow me on Twitter, Happy Little Gamer. There's a link in the description too. And I post updates on the schedule, extra content, clips, news about Spellbreak and Nintendo games and other fun stuff. So definitely, if you're not already, follow me there. But I'm so excited and a little nervous, honestly, because it is so much information to go over. So, and I feel like because we're just reading it all in like text form, I really wish we would have gotten like a gameplay video. They're probably saving that as like an exclusive for like IGN or some other media outlet. But I feel like if they would have given us a Dominion gameplay video, so many questions that the community has would have just been answered. But you know, then I'm sure on their part, it's probably also like a marketing thing, right? They want us talking and speculating. So um they're definitely gonna get what they want, because I think like Crashy did like a 5-hour marathon stream yesterday with no gameplay, just talking about the new mode. And I've seen a lot of other creators, content creators, doing the same thing. um, there's definitely a lot to go over. So I think we're gonna start, just because it is such like an overwhelming amount of information. We're just gonna kind of go through the Reddit post, and then we'll kind of branch our own discussion about everything off of that, just so we can kind of organize our thoughts, because I don't really have I wrote some notes down, but like I feel like it's a little my like for like an outline for a discussion, it's not great. So because I was planning on just going over this, so that's what we're gonna do. So let's get into it. Okay. I did also mess around with a bunch of stuff in OBS over the last few days in my spare time. Hopefully it improves some things. It may also break other things, so beware there may be a little bit of wonkiness. Kind of as always, but I'm still figuring streaming out. There's a lot to learn. But let's cut over to this, and great, that worked. Oops, I did not mean to mute myself. What I did want to do is add, is that not working? Shoot, my keyboard shortcuts aren't working. Okay, well, that's okay. I was trying to add like a, this is going great. This is going great. I was trying to get my video to show up over there, but it doesn't seem to want to be doing that. So I guess we'll just go without the video over it. Since we're gonna be mainly talking on today's stream. I will do some gameplay. Lobbies have been very slow though, so. But we're mainly gonna be talking about all this jazz. I do know also that Jesse Kurlanchik and Dan Ogles are thinking about doing one of Jesse's cozy streams a bit later. So I definitely want to at least have the audio of that going if we're still streaming. It's in a couple hours, I think, is what he said. Because there tends to be good information, a lot of good clarifying questions and stuff. They've also been really great on communication in terms of like people asking questions on these subreddit posts, and either Dan Ogles or Jesse Kurlanchik, who are the design directors for the game, responding with when they can. I think there's some stuff that they're still kind of holding back on, but they've been pretty good. So for some reason the images here aren't working, but I do want to just show some of the artwork that they added, because it is pretty cool looking. But I guess the easiest way to do that right here would just be to pull that. Which I pulled today's thumbnail artwork from part of it and changed a little bit. So these are the Vow Keepers. So if you don't know a lot about the lore of Spellbreak, there's basically Vow Breakers and Vow Keepers. So Vow Breakers are the players of the game, so we are all Vow Breakers. Magic has been outlawed in this world, and these are sort of like the enforcers of that law. So they they don't let anyone else use magic except them. And they're in the new mode, which is super exciting. But okay, so let's just dive in. After weeks of teases and months of hearing about Spellbreak's new game mode, we'd like to introduce you to Dominion, a new 5v5 objective-based game mode debuting with Chapter 2. In this post, we're going to describe the game mode in its entirety and hopefully answer any questions. So they kind of go into like high level stuff here. I'll try not to just directly read everything, but there's so much detail that kind of with some things I feel like I kind of have to, but I'll try to paraphrase when I can. So they're kind of going over like their overall goals when they were designing the game mode. Let me click this ad off just so we're not staring at that person with a mask the whole time. So they wanted small scale team versus team combat. So one of the biggest requests by the community overall, people were really, I think, hoping for like a 3v3 game mode. They went with a 5v5, but I think that's actually good. I think it's going to make some more interesting team compositions possible and like team builds almost than would have been possible in a 3v3 just arena mode. There's like a lot of meat and depth to this mode, but we'll get into that obviously. It's just like a little amuse-bouche, like a little appetizer here. So people have been asking for that for as long as they can remember. Spellbreak's combat shines in small-scale skirmishes, and highlighting that is one of the primary goals of this mode. And we heard that from Seth, the CEO, too, and last week in his stream when he said, like, this mode is, like, very action-packed. So objective-based win conditions. Similar to the above, a mode focused around objectives instead of just raw damage or downs or exiles has been requested and discussed for a long time. Incorporate light PvE, another often requested and something we're excited to explore more is fighting against explicit NPC characters. So that's those Valguard characters that we saw there. They talk more about them later too. They're part of the mode. Team synergy and strategy. We want who you play with and how you build your character to matter. We want Dominion to allow different metas to develop that force players to adapt and change over time. And we want more skilled players and teams with great synergies to excel. So that's what we were just talking about with, and we'll go into this more later too, like just like the depth of different team like compositions and builds, different roles you can play. And because you're not like in something like League of Legends or Overwatch, like pigeonholed into certain builds, you can create your own. And there's a little bit of RNG still in it, which we'll get into. Like, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very dynamic, which is super exciting. So variations from match to match. That said, each match should still end up playing out differently between multiple maps, various controllable RNG factors, and straight up surprising opponents. Each match should feel different. And then keep the stuff that works. So the things from Battle Royale and Clash, like the match duration, progression in level, and progression in gear over the length of the match, they like those things. And I think those are some of the things that the community likes too. So they want to keep all of that. Okay. So what are the goals for a match of Dominion? So it's to be the first team to reach a point threshold by capturing it and controlling the 3 different zones on the map. Maybe what I'll do here, so we're not just, you know, staring at a block of text, is I have to give me one sec here. Give me one sec. I'm trying to... I didn't do this before. I probably should have. But add a little slideshow image here that we can go through. Cut. Add that. should be a way to make that just autoplay, I think, too. How do we do that? OBS. I don't know. The answer is don't know. Play? No. Oh, yeah, that did work. Okay. So the goal of Dominion is to be the first team to reach a point threshold by capturing and controlling 3 different zones on the map, as well as exiling players on the opposing team. If the score hasn't been reached after 15 minutes, the team with the highest score wins. So there's a max 15-minute time limit. It could be faster than that, though. I feel like there's a lot of things. That's why I said like it would have been so useful if we had like even one gameplay video from even one player's perspective, and it would be a lot easier to kind of get a sense of some of this stuff. But we'll just have to use our imaginations a little bit. Here, this is a, let me pause this. So this is one of the screenshots they shared. So as of this writing, so it's possible it could change before release, but the point threshold is 75 and then plus 15 times the number of players on a team. So they're accounting for like if a player leaves mid-match, then the score would be adjusted and so on. So if there's 5 players on a team, the total would be 150. If there are 4, it would be 135, and so on. So team format. Every match of Dominion features 2 players of 5 players maximum. So it can be possible if for some reason the matchmaking didn't work out that it could be a 4v4. Or a 4v5, and then I don't know if it was a 4v5 if that would make different point totals to win different for each team or what. I think we'll get into like some of their answers to people's questions at the end, or towards the end. I think they answered something like that there, but I don't remember what it was exactly off the top of my head. But okay, we've settled on 5 players because it's a small enough number that each individual player has a meaningful role to play and can communicate with the entire team effectively. Yeah, because if you had like a 9v9 like you do in Clash, there's no way you want 9 people on voice chat. I mean, I personally don't usually play with voice chat, but it would just be like a cluster. It would be a mess. So I feel like 5v5 is a pretty manageable thing. You know, like Overwatch is like teams of 6. We're already used to in Spellbreak teams of 3. So I feel like 5 is a very good, like, kind of medium. It's also large enough that a large enough number of the map can offer geographically distant objectives that a team must allocate their resources intelligently, but not be spread too thin. So since there's multiple control points, right? So that we know there's 3, the sun, the moon, and the star. So because those are kind of spread out, you're gonna have to kind of spread out your team. So if you want one player covering each of the control points, maybe if you're able to capture them all, or maybe your team has 2 and the other team has 1, and you're going to try to push and take over the third one, or the other team's going to try to push you and take one away from you. Like, you're going to have to kind of bounce and allocate different team members and stuff. And because there's more people too, you could also like hold 2 and then have a couple players play more like support roles. So if you remember when we were going through all the different builds and stuff, I just realized too, I don't have chat pulled up. So let me pull up chat, make sure there don't have any questions. If you do have questions, definitely let me know. Or if you have any thoughts or reaction or musings on the new Game Motor League, I'd love to hear them. So definitely let me know in chat, or if you're watching this later as a VOD, just let me know in the comments. I respond to all my comments, so yeah. Okay. Starting out, so before each match begins, players select their class and talents like they currently do. Okay, so that's the same. But before spawning in, players are introduced to the merchant. So that character that we saw, here we can go back to them on the screenshot. This character. And this screen that we got last week on Monday, I think, seems like such a long time ago, and yet not that long ago. But this character is the merchant, and this screen actually is what they're talking about here when you first spawn in. So there's going to be some language and terms here about the gameplay that we're all gonna have to kind of get used to. Some of them are a little odd. They'll present the player with their first 2 boon choices. So boon is one of those odd words that we're gonna have to get used to. So a boon, let's see, I had a definition pulled up, but I don't think that got added to our slideshow, so I'll just have to read it to you. So a boon is something to be thankful for, a blessing or benefit. So, or something that is asked or a favor sought. So that's the definition of boon. So that makes sense, especially with the blessing part. But we'll get into that. So each boon choice will give the player 3 options, of which they must choose one. The first boon will be an offhand gauntlet, which is what this screenshot off in the lower left was showing us. That's why they're all common gauntlets. And the second one will be a rune. So even on this first one, you do get rerolls. So you pick your main class gauntlet, the same that you always have, and then you're given a choice out of the next 3. And then we'll get into rerolls a little bit more and kind of the strategy of it, but so you only get 3 rerolls for the entire match, which is kind of interesting. But like gauntlets, right? So there's only 5 gauntlets total here. So if you really had a build that you wanted to run, you could allocate one of your rerolls to this, and you would get the other 2 gauntlet choices after this, and you could basically pick whatever you want. This is RNG. We'll talk about RNG more later too, but it is kind of deck based. So basically think about it like if you were playing like a board game. And so for this instance, there's 5 gauntlets. Your reroll, you're gonna take those 5 cards, shuffle them, deal out 3 cards, which is what we're seeing here. We got wind, fire, frost. And then if you reroll, they're gonna take away those 3 cards, deal the next 2 cards. So then you're gonna see toxic, and you're going to see stone, and then they're going to take those other 3 cards that you already saw, shuffle them again, and put 1 down. Now that same thing is going to happen. So after you selected your gauntlet here, the next screen you would see would be selecting your rune. So you're going to get all these boon screens are going to be a choice of 3. So there's 9 runes in the game. You're going to be shown 3 random runes out of that. And let's pretend we just have a rune deck for this beginning choice. You're going to be shown 3 runes. You can either use one of your precious 3 rerolls for the whole match, or you can just pick whichever one of the ones there is the best, knowing that you're going to have the option to come back to this merchant if you're exiled, or if you do some other things in the game, which we'll talk about. But really interesting. It gets rid of there's still a RNG aspect of it, but it gets rid of people just totally hot dropping and there being RNG, like serious RNG, like whether you're able to get any gear at all. Or if you're like hot dropping and like fighting over chests or something, like none of that is going to happen in this mode because everyone is going to drop in with some offhand gauntlet and a rune. It may not be exactly what you want for the whole match, but it's probably at least in terms of gauntlet, you have a pretty good chance of getting what you want. Just like in my own head for like the way I like to play the game, I can see myself using one of my three precious rerolls pretty often in this first choice to get exactly the gauntlet build out that I want. Runes, you know, I can make some runes work. Hey there, Richard, how are you? Welcome. We are deep diving into the new game mode Dominion, all the details about it, and for the new League's rank system that's coming. So if you have any questions or feedback or thoughts, definitely shout them out in chat. We're just kind of going through their Reddit post with all the details and kind of dissecting it and using the screenshots we have too. Okay, so there's going to be more about boons and merchants and the merchant that we'll get into. Players also start with 0 armor, but with 70 max mana and +3 run speed, which is roughly equivalent to a rare amulet and rare boots. This 0 armor is gonna be like, I think it's gonna be a little controversial. But it's also important to remember that everyone is starting out with 0 armor, and everyone is starting out for the most part, and we'll get into this, but with common gauntlets too. So the time to kill or exile isn't going to be that high because everyone's going to be running common gauntlets. No one's going to drop and get a legendary. So that's interesting. It's going to kind of be in the beginning similar, I think, to like the early fights in Clash. Maybe that's not a good idea. What is a good way that I can think about it? It might just be like a hot drop in BR kind of, where everybody doesn't really have great gear yet, but at least everyone's on a pretty level playing field, at least in terms of armor, outside of any kind of talent choices that they made. You know, like you could have picked tough and gotten some built-in armor, or you could have picked vigor and gotten some extra HP from that. Definitely there's a lot to consider with the talents. Like all of our talent discussion is you're gonna have totally different talent builds for this game mode than you are for BR. It's just what it's gonna be, but makes it interesting for sure. Am I gonna stream any of Spellbreak Chapter 2 today? Well, so it's not out yet. We don't have a release date for it. Chapter 1 is ending, they said, at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern today. But I think we're gonna be in kind of like just a vanilla mode of the game. And then they said on Twitter yesterday that they're going to release announce the release date for Chapter 2 sometime this week, so presumably by Friday. So we're gonna play some Chapter 1. We might check in if we're still going. when chapter 1 officially ends at that 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Who knows? Maybe something interesting will happen in the game. I don't know. We'll find out. So let's keep chugging along here. So next little bit is about the map. So once the match starts, players are going to find themselves on one of 4 different maps. At launch, there are maps for Dustpool, Halcyon, Bogmore, and Himwood. So those are some of the ones last week when we did our kind of like journey around the map on Friday, scouting out locations that could be good for this game mode. We definitely went to Halcyon, Bogmore, and Himwood, and like, yeah, I think these could work. Bogmore is kind of the most interesting one, because it's so vertical and it's made to look a little bit more random than the other parts of this. It'll be interesting to see what they do in Bogmore. Also interesting is because they say at launch, I think that means more maps than just those 4 are coming. Honestly, only Himwood and Bogmore are elemental shrines, and I think it's probably pretty likely all the elemental shrines will get them. They did confirm to people that the elemental shrines will not be active though, so you're not going to be able to, in Himwood, you're not going to be able to go to the wind shrine and pick up blue wind. You thought chapter 2 starts as soon as chapter 1 ends. Yeah, we all kind of thought that. Especially because they said that they couldn't turn off the Juggernaut without kind of breaking the game, but then unless chapter 2 is just like surprise dropping at 5 p.m. today, which maybe doubtful, but maybe. Yeah, I don't know. They haven't said for sure, unless they announced on Twitter like in the last 40 minutes while I've been streaming. But we'll see. Do I know if progress on my gauntlets will reset or not? No. So all of your class progression that you've made will stay the same. You'll stay at the exact same level. I think they confirmed that system isn't changing yet. Like if you've unlocked all the talents and everything too, even though we're having a big talent shift up, if you've already unlocked all the talents, I think it's level 6 on all 6 classes, right? I think you should have all the new talents unlocked too for chapter 2 based on what they've said. So you're going to be surrounded by a red storm, so we can peek at this. I thought it was a pink storm, but that was this that we saw in that teaser. I don't think the flags have anything to do with anything. I think the flag is just new decoration for that area of Dustpool. But so this storm is going to be all around you, and it's going to be an insta-kill zone. So if you touch it, you will immediately be exiled. So definitely stay away from zone. Could be interesting for a wind player to, if someone is near zone, to like put a tornado there, maybe could suck their enemy into the red zone and exile them that way. So this forms a hard boundary of the map, forcing players to stay in a fairly small play area. They say fairly small, but if we look at this Himwood shot that we're seeing here, it's actually pretty big. Himwood is a pretty large area, and it's not just like the rune part in the middle, but it looks like it extends all the way out to the mountains around it. I'm thinking about your question here about the class gauntlets, Richard. They are eventually going to be changing that class leveling system. So if you haven't already gotten everything to 20 and you want those legendary emotes that you get when you get them to 20, I would continue working towards that while you can. Because that is going to go away eventually. They haven't said when. I don't think it's happening right at the start of chapter 2 based on what they've said, but I would get them all to 20 as soon as possible. It doesn't take that long with the new lower XP required to level them up. Okay, so we have 3 control zones that you see on the map. So let's go forward a little bit to I think this one you can see them better. And let me cut here even. See this screenshot better. So here you can see that the character this character has the leveled up class skin, so that's pretty interesting. So that is coming in chapter 2, it sounds like, but they haven't announced any more details about it. But you can see they're standing in a capture point. This would be the sun point, and you can see the star point off on the right and the moon point off on the left. They are currently capturing this point. So you can see down towards the bottom, but like by where their gauntlets and rune are, you can see it says capturing, and it's a progress bar. You can see that the UI little HUD icons for different zones also show you with colors who controls them, your team or the other team. I think the way that usually works is your team is usually blue and the enemy team is usually red, but we'll see. The primary way to win in Dominion is to capture and control these 3 zones. To begin capturing a neutral zone, simply enter and remain within its radius. The HUD indicator will begin filling, representing the progress towards capture. Once the progress bar is full, the zone's ring turns blue to indicate the zone is fully captured. Yeah, so your team is going to be the blue team all the time. Capturing is accelerated if multiple teammates are within the zone area. So that's going to be hard with 3 zones and 5 players. But if you maybe are able to, let's say the other team had a point, capture point, and you're able to take them out, with a couple of people from your team did a push and did that, then if both of you stand in the zone, then you're going to capture that zone faster. A zone becomes contested whenever players from both teams are nearby. So that's interesting, because it's not like they need to be inside of it. They just need to be nearby. I think they clarified in the question that it's like a few meters. So that's pretty close. Like they'd have to be pretty close. At least we've only really seen a lot of screenshots of this Himwood area. And here it seems like all of the capture points are kind of up on these tower platform things, but I don't know if that's going to be the case everywhere. We'll have to see when we see some more maps. You have all your gauntlets to max level? Just asking. Yeah. So you'll keep your level where you're at eventually, though. And if anything you've unlocked is gonna stay unlocked. But eventually, they've said that they're gonna change that whole class leveling system. But I don't think it's happening quite yet. But we'll see. You're not gonna lose anything if you've already leveled everything up. Okay. So when a player is exiled, they will respawn above a zone that their team controls after 15 seconds. So you'll have 15 seconds. And I think they maybe get a little more into this in the merchant boon section. But so you'll have 15 seconds to visit the merchant and swap out or upgrade any items. And then you'll respawn over one of these capture points that your team controls already. And if your team doesn't control any zones, then you'll respawn at 2 starting spawn locations. So probably the same place you spawned in the beginning of the game, I would imagine, before anybody captured anything. But that's pretty interesting that you respawn above a zone your team controls, because it kind of gets rid of, if you've played like Overwatch, or I have never really played much League of Legends, but I think it's like this usually in other MOBAs. You like always are spawning back at a base, not over like a tower you control in a MOBA, or like not at the capture point. And so it kind of messes with that that kind of respawn staggering mechanic that you have, and like gameplay strategy that you have in some other similar types of game modes in other games. So that's pretty interesting. Gaining points. So points are gained in 2 ways for each of the, here we can cut back to this so we can all see the information. Points are gained in 2 ways for each of the above zones a team controls. They will earn 1 point every 10 seconds. If a team doesn't control any zones, no passive points are earned. If a team has 1 zone, they earn 1 point every 10 seconds. If they have 2 zones, 2 points every 10 every 10 seconds, 2 points every 10 seconds. And if they have 3 zones, 3 points every 10 seconds. Okay, so the more zones you control, the more points you're going to gain over time. And that's not just over time, but if this next point, it's also going to be for every exile. So for every player a team exiles, they will earn a point multiplied by the number of zones they control. So if your team has 0 or 1 zone, you get 1 exile point. You get 1 point for the exile. If your team controls 2 zones, then you get 2 points for every exile. And if you have 3 zones, then each exile is 3 points. And then they make a note that just exiling the Vanguard, which are going to be the NPC characters, does not count towards those points. So speaking of Vanguards, those are these folks again. Another new thing players will encounter are NPC Vanguards. These spawn in pre-designated areas in groups of 3 and have little UI markers over their head to differentiate them. I think we can see that. Let me see here. I think one of these screenshots shows that. Nope. Or if it does, I can't see it. Oh, here, this one, but it's just kind of small. But you can see towards the center there, there's a few of the Vanguard characters, and they have a special icon over them that's always there to designate them. We don't know what enemies look like, so we don't know if the enemy characters are going to have a similar thing, but maybe colored red. That would seem like kind of a lot of HUD elements, but I guess we'll see. It would make, I mean, like in Clash now, you do have dots over your friendly teammates. Hey, Retro Squirtle, did you finish your homework for Splatoon? We're gonna play Splatoon on Thursday, so we're playing more, talking and playing more Spellbreak today. But excited if you finish your homework for Splatoon. Okay, so let's cut back to this other. Okay. So these spawn in pre-designated areas in groups of 3, little markers. We said that. Okay. They're relatively weak, but will engage any player who comes near them. They'll stay near their spawn area and won't capture or contest zones. And once all the Vanguards in a group are dispatched, the entire group will respawn after 20 to 35 seconds. Most importantly, especially early in a match, Vanguards drop loot and have a chance to drop scrolls. One thing players won't find on the map, however, are chests. In order to gain or upgrade gear, they'll need to hunt down the Valguard or pay a visit to the merchant. So that's pretty interesting. There's basically no chests at all in this game mode. So outside of the merchant and boon system that we're going to go more into detail in a sec here, these NPC characters are kind of the only way to get loot. And they have specified that they will drop potions and shield shards. You will keep those in your inventory. Even when you die and respawn, you'll come back with them, similar to, well, not really similar, a little bit different than the way Clash works now with that. Also, they count on this chart that we had before. If you're running Curious, they are a source of scrolls, so it increases your chance of finding a scroll. So it might be possible to like play more of a support role because you have teams of 5 and maybe one person is running Curious, and they could kind of farm the NPC characters, especially early in the game, to help out your whole team. And if you look at that lower right-hand corner of this chart, we have Gilded. Gilded's going to be super important in this mode, especially if you have a teammate who's farming scrolls, right? You made it to B+ Retro Squirtle. That's awesome. Yeah, it is pretty hard, but I'm excited. Come back on Thursday's stream and we'll play Splatoon together. Okay. Okay. So back to the merchant. So let's look at this merchant shot. So as players deal damage to other players and to the Valguard, the boon gem in the lower right of the HUD will slowly fill in. So that is going to be, you can see it there. I'll make this bigger for a sec. You can see that there in the lower right. You have your boon gem. So that's will fill up over time. And you'll need boon gems in order to purchase things from the merchant. Players can fill the gem up to 3 times to store 3 charges. While waiting to respawn, players can exchange 1 boon gem charge for a new random boon. So if we go back to this, so this would be 1 boon. So you're gonna have, it's after the first time that we visited the merchant, we got to pick a rune and a gauntlet, but after that, looks like it's going to be mixed, and it's going to be mixed not just between runes and gauntlets, but also blessings, which are, you can see these icons in the lower left, and we'll explain blessings in a second, but it's one of the main ways we're going to get armor in this game mode. All gauntlets and runes offered as boons are guaranteed to be better rarity than the player currently has. However, it may not be the same type. So basically, like let's say you have a blue wind and you're running Tempest, then the gauntlets shown when you visit the merchant for your boon would be higher than blue. So you're only going to see then purple or gold rarity gauntlets. But like it said, it might not be the same gauntlet that you have. You may have to do a re-roll, or use multiple boons since you can hold up to 3. So this is kind of where RNG is still an aspect of the game. It's kind of interesting. One sec here. Okay. So same thing with rune. So let's say you have a blue rune. We don't totally know what all the loot that those Val guards are going to drop is. I would assume, especially because we did see this. There was a screenshot we saw that looked like it was early game. This one. So the score is 0 here, but they have a blue wind, and they don't have, even though they're running, I think, gilded, they don't have any scrolls read for it yet. So that makes, and I think they purposely did this here because to kind of tease whether or not the elemental shrine was active or not, but they did confirm yesterday, I think, that the elemental shrine is not, you don't get the rare gauntlets from it. So I think maybe this blue win did come from one of the Val guards, but I'd be interested to see if what all loot they drop. We know they drop health and shields and possibly scrolls, but I guess we don't totally know whether they drop gauntlets and runes yet. I guess we also don't know if they drop blessings, but maybe they do. I don't think so though. Maybe that'll be a good question. I'm gonna write this down as a question to ask Jesse and Dan on their cozy stream later today if it happens. Okay. Noted. Hopefully I remember to ask that. I think that's a good question. I haven't seen anyone else ask them that. Oh, something we didn't mention is those Val guards will do damage, so they will fight you. They're pretty low. It sounds like they're pretty low HP, but they will fight you. They did confirm that they only use the noodle, the default weak arcane spell. So, you know, they're not going to do a ton of damage. They're basically like walking chess. But there's always the possibility that they could, you know, give them a stronger version of the arcane spell or something like that in a future update. Or that in a different game mode, we could get different NPCs, or that different NPCs that fight you could come into Battle Royale. So many possibilities for the future. Okay. When at the merchant, a player can press reroll to see 3 new choices for their boons. Of note, the RNG for boons uses a deck, such that any rerolls or subsequent offers won't repeat earlier choices until all options have been cycled through. So this is what we were talking about earlier. And then each player has 3 rerolls available per match period. So I do think, though, that you could, like, if you were willing to swap out gauntlets, like, you would be able to use a boon gem and get another boon, which could be an interesting mechanic. And then, like we said, you have about 15 seconds here between respawn to make these decisions. But rerolls are going to be very valuable. You are going to have to kind of strategize your use. You either are going to want to maybe... I think you want to maybe, like I said, I might use one to get like my gauntlet build. Maybe even my rune build. right early on, because I think that's going to be a big advantage, right? Having your that and getting scrolls are going to be what you want to do. They don't say here. This is interesting. So I thought that I mean, I guess we'll go through it, but I thought that the merchant would also be selling scrolls because they have scrolls on their little backpack here and under their robe. But that's not listed here. Only gauntlets, runes, and blessings are. So maybe farming the Vow Guards is going to be the only way to get scrolls. That's pretty interesting. All gauntlets and runes offered as boons. Oh, we read. Okay. But again, we have this deck concept of that we talked about earlier. So think about it like if you were playing like a board game, or maybe like a card-based game, like maybe Hearthstone, or if you've played that at all, or maybe like Magic the Gathering or something like that, where you have a deck of options and you're going through it. So that kind of makes sense. So it's like you're going to go through all the rune choices and all of the gauntlet choices and all of the blessing choices before you see any of it again. So if you see something you want, you should grab it because you're not going to see it again. But I think that does also include like the different rarities above what you're at. So, you know, we talked about like if you had a blue gauntlet, then you're only going to see higher than blue gauntlet. So it's not like you're going to see a common wind then or something. You're only going to be seeing epic or legendary wind if you're for like the cards and the options of what was in that deck. So that mechanic is very interesting. I think it's very different from the way that a lot of other games approach this. As someone like me who really, really likes board games, and although I don't play a lot of them, I'm really fascinated in like game design and of like tabletop RPG systems, and I know, and like what else? Like is it actually called Dominion? There's a card-based battle game that I played quite a bit of that may actually be called Dominion. That would be interesting. Let me double check if that's the name. It's been a while since I played. Yeah, it is. That's funny. I wonder if I know that Jesse, the game design director, is a big board game fan, so I wonder if that was part of the inspiration for that name. Anyway, so there is also a soft catch-up mechanic where if a player is exiled by another player while they don't have a charged boon gem, they will receive a free bonus boon. So let's say you're just getting smashed by the other team and you got no exiles, you got no capture points, weren't able to get a boon charge before you got exiled. Like between respawning and between getting exiled again, you just got wiped again and then again. Every time you get wiped, you get one free, at least, if you haven't built up any, you get at least one free bonus boon, not boom. So that's an interesting kind of soft, like I said, it's not like a super catch-up mechanic, but it will certainly help. It'll help you get better gear if you're just getting wiped. Blessings are stackable buffs. So this is going to talk about blessings. Blessings, we don't really know what those look like because they don't show any here, but we do see that the person already has some blessings here in the lower left. Armor blessing grants plus 20 max armor. Mana blessing grants plus 20 max mana. Speed blessing grants plus 3 run speed. So that's pretty interesting. So like we talked about last week, Seth confirmed there's no, you know, and they talked about it earlier here too, there's no amulets belts or oh my gosh, my brain's not working. Too much information. Amulets, belts, or boots. There we go. In the mode. So these blessings are going to be the only way you can upgrade those things. And everyone has kind of baseline stats, right? It said earlier that everyone, in terms of mana that normally comes from amulets and speed, which normally comes from boots, will have a +3. Or like basically not +3. It was +3 for run speed by base, which is the same as like blue boots. And then the mana that they said you'd have is equivalent to blue amulet. So, but baseline, no one has any armor, 0. So that's gonna make it's gonna make tough, which is a body talent that gives you max armor plus 10, 12, 15, 25, depending on scrolls. Pretty important. It's gonna make vigor, which gives you max health plus 25, 30, 35, 50. Pretty important. Just any additional HP you can get is going to be super important. I feel like it's also going to make just the importance of having somebody playing more of a support healing role on your team of 5 pretty important. Like fellowship is certainly going to be clutch for that. You could have someone run like fellowship vampiric, as we know the vampiric feeds into fellowship, or fellowship thirsty. See, but then that person is going to lose out on being able to run gilded. So if you wanted to be like the ultimate support person on your team, you could be running Curious, which is 2, Fellowship, which is 3, and Vampiric and Thirsty are both 2. So yeah, those are viable builds. If you want to be the ultimate support for your team. And then running Curious, you would have to also be kind of farming those Vow Guards for potions and for scrolls for your teammates. So that you'll see here, there is a way to visit the merchant, even if you're having a good game and not getting exiled, so you can recall. So we saw this in, oh, I'm sorry, I totally didn't have, I'm reading here and not showing this. I was showing just a screenshot. So here's that information. I forget exactly where we were. Oh, I think we were talking about blessings when I cut to the blessings, since those were small in the corner. Okay. Let's go somewhere here. Oh, here. So you can see here in the middle, they have 3 boon gem charges in the lower right, and then in the middle it says hold F to recall to visit merchant. So that's what we're talking about here. So it takes 8 seconds. So it's like drinking one of the large pots. So it's a commitment. But probably a necessary one, but you definitely want to try to coordinate that with your team. So you will respawn afterwards. So you basically press F when you're not focusing in an object that you can pick up or interact with. Recalling restore. This is actually interesting mechanic. Recalling restores a player's health and armor to max and spawns them above the location they recalled from. So basically you're pulling yourself out of the game for 15 seconds. You're going to choose your boons. I don't know if you immediately spawn back in once you've used up all your boon gems, or it must not. You must be sitting there waiting to respawn no matter what. Because they did say it was 15 seconds to respawn. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting mechanic. Because you're respawning too from like, it's not like you can group up this way. Really? Again, I feel like that's them trying to kind of counter and play with some mechanics that you see in other games that have this other game modes that are similar to this, control point modes. You could something interesting would be you could do would maybe like hold a control point, recall the other team, maybe all pushes there, and maybe are all on it for their. We don't actually know how long the time to capture is. We know that it's faster when there's multiple people though. So what if multiple people were on there, and then you 15 seconds later you respawn there and you've now got better gear, and take them all out? Could be interesting strategies you could come up with. We'll see. A lot of this stuff is like we're gonna have to wait and see what happens when the community all gets their hands on it. I'm sure there's all kinds of shenanigans that are gonna happen. What's changed from Battle Royale and Clash? Okay, leveling. So instead of leveling when a circle boundary is crossed, all players level simultaneously at predetermined times in the match. So at 2 minutes, you go to level 2. At 4 minutes, you go to level 3. And at 8 minutes, you go to level 4. Now that is with the exception, though, of so many new talents. I can't keep track of them all. Which is the talent that levels your character up? Oh, athletic. Which is a 4-cost body talent. So that would be one way that you could level up. Like, let's say if you're, I think it's probably most important maybe for like toxicologist and tempest, I think. Could be super clutch to for toxicologist to get your outbreak damage, for tempest to get squall damage, depending what kind of tempest gameplay you have. Okay. Okay, so circle. There is no closing circle. It's fixed and unmoving and deadly. So that's that red circle that we saw teased last week. This one. So it's like a static boundary around the map area. They did also clarify in answering people's questions that they're going to be unloading the rest of the map, you know. So in Battle Royale, normally your console or your PC is kind of like holding the rest of the map and keeping track of things all over the map. That's not gonna be happening here. So you should be see some performance boost compared to Battle Royale, which is nice, interesting. Okay. So Amulet, belt boots, those do not exist. Armor, speed, and mana can be upgraded through blessings at the merchant. Like we talked about, scrolls, players always drop a random scroll when exiled, and the Valguard have a chance to drop a scroll as well when defeated. So that's part of the reason Curious is so important too, is because you could also find double scrolls out of other players you exile, since they always drop a scroll. So Curious gives you 12, 25, 35, 50% chance to find it a second scroll. And yeah, and then the Curious clarified, I think this is just a clarifying actually in his notes about Curious. It's a separate loot roll that has a chance for a scroll. This means you can find 2 scrolls from a single chest, or in this case from Valguards or other characters. I'm not 100% on the other exiling a player, but I'm pretty sure because it's any source. I'm pretty sure. I'm positive that it's the Valguards because I think they clarified that in a question. But okay, dropping gear on exiles. Players do not drop their consumables or other gear, so it's not going to be like Clash where you just have like Ludapalooza every time someone's exiled. And that makes sense too. It sounds like, especially early game, that exiles are going to be fast and furious because no one's going to have any armor. So it should be pretty interesting. Wrapping up, phew, that was a lot to cover. It was. We're very excited about Dominion, getting everyone playing. 2 final notes. Okay, I mean, today they announced leagues. So leagues, Dominion is going to be the featured mode for leagues, and we'll get into more of that as we talk about leagues. And then with Chapter 2, Clash will be going away for the time being. We're telling you now so you can get all your big score games in before the patch lands and Clash ends up in the vault while we all hop onto Dominion. So Clash, RIP. I've played a ton of Clash because I really don't. I played so much Battle Royale when that was the only mode available that I got so sick of it. So I have mostly, and I'm a more casual player. I mean, that's no secret if you watch the channel. I'm not competing in element tournaments. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be weird. It's going to make Battle Royales definitely be the more casual game mode for a few reasons. I think a lot of the competitive players are going to be all over this mode and all over the ranked leagues mode, or system, which we're going to get into next. But you're also going to have all your quests and stuff, and I think we're probably pretty likely to see like gameplay changing things like the Juggernaut buff. Love it or hate it, I think we're going to see more things like that, but it's all only going to be in Battle Royale. And all the quests and story quests and all of that is going to be in Battle Royale. So if you're doing the chapter pass, you're still going to be playing some Battle Royale, for now anyways. You know, who knows what they'll do in the future. I will say too that like something that's super exciting about all of this is it feels like it is them, and with the league system too, when we go over that, it seems like it's them. Here, let me get to myself here, since we're just chit-chatting, not really looking at the information, and I'm not just nervously scrolling. It is like them setting themselves up, giving themselves a toolkit where they can take these pieces, like take this buy system that they're working on, they can iterate on it based on our feedback and then put that into another game mode. We talked about earlier how this is so dynamic in terms of the like amount of different builds that you can do and the different team comps you can do. There's so much customization. You can basically make your own hero character or legend character from games like Overwatch and League of Legends, and I'm like super excited by even though I'm kind of in reality kind of a boring player, and like I usually come up with like just a very standard build that works well for me in each class and run that, I don't even know if that's going to be possible in this mode, because you're gonna have to play different things based on the people that you're playing with. I do kind of wish that we don't really know that much about the matchmaking. We know a little bit, which we'll go over with the league stuff, but I don't know if it's like class based at all. I did hear Crashy and some other people say they were concerned maybe about like everybody on a team all running a certain class, because there's no like locks against them doing that. So that's totally something they can do. But I wonder if for like people that are solo queuing and stuff, I wonder if they're going to try to balance out classes. I think some of that is, even if they try to, some of that is going to depend on player population. But there's obviously going to be a huge marketing push, just like there was with Chapter 1 here. And I think this game mode is it sounds very like grindable, like in a good way. So I could totally see, I mean, I'm hopeful that the player population is going to continue growing and getting bigger over time. Let's see here. Should we dive into leagues? I feel like I need a sip of water for sure. I also might need to like reapply chapstick because my mouth is so dry from all the talking. I mean, I'm usually talking quite a bit, but so excuse me while while I put on some chapstick. Or lip, my husband calls it lip chap. I don't really know why he calls it that, but now my finger's all greasy. I didn't think this out. But okay, let's go here. Ooh, you know what else I want to do? I do have, I know, fascinating. Here, let's cut to this. There should be, in my attempt at pre-production for our stream today. Did it happen? Did it not happen? Maybe it didn't happen. Shoot. I don't think it happened. Well, that's okay. There's images here. We don't have that much outside of what they showed us here of what the system looks like anyways. But so Leagues is going to be their version of a rank system. It is a little different than some other games' rank system. Like I said, I'm a little bit more on the casual end of things. So actually, Splatoon that we've been playing on the channel is the first like real rank system I've ever played in. Usually, even if I have played some Overwatch and stuff, I usually just play quick play. Just not a super competitive person in that way. It just a lot of times seems to be like lead to things getting a little more toxic and stuff, which, you know, is not the goal here on the channel. But we'll just scroll through here and kind of look at the visuals of what the system is going to look like, and then we'll get into some of the details. There is this little video here showing you what it looks like at the end of a ranked match. So some beautiful graphic and overlays. You will also notice too in the background there, we're seeing this snowy area. I don't think the snowy area, unless there's snow in Bogmore, which I would be shocked at. This isn't one of the maps we're gonna get at launch, because this is not Himwood. This is not Halcyon. This is definitely not Dustpool. So it's still a mystery what area of the map is getting snow. but but that does to me say too that like even though like that we will probably be getting more maps for um Dominion over time. Okay. So let's dive right into it. So similar to yesterday, they kind of outlined their goals when designing it. So competition. Obviously, a rank system hinges around players being able to compete with one another in fair and exciting matches, but it also extends to being able to brag and show off. Progression. However, we didn't want to only appeal to competitive players. League should also give new players a sense of mastery and a way to think or a way to see that they're improving over the long term. And I'll add that it's not just new players, it can be casual players too. Flexibility. Any system we use should be flexible enough to work for a variety of game modes and with different content. We don't want to have to constantly rework the system or make lots of special rules for future modes. So big emphasis here on that, like, as excited as we all are about Dominion, like, this is not all we're getting. The chapter 3 is gonna probably also have a new game mode, I would guess, based on that. Very exciting. I think it's also possible we'll get into it, as I've said like 400 times as we go through things here, but but like Battle Royale is also a possibility, I guess, for future versions. But okay. Evergreen. The League system should remain a source of content and play over time for anyone who chooses to engage with it, whether they are new or veteran players. Which is totally true, right? That's part of the problem the game has, like where we are right now with it, where chapter 1 was extended. We don't really have any content. But these kind of deeper game modes and the sort of grind to level up to a higher rank are still going to give you something to do. And because it's always possible to fall back down a rank with some caveats, which, you know, we'll get into. How many times can I say that in one episode here? One stream. Okay. So how does it work? At the core of the system is the concept of leagues and tiers. Each league represents a fairly wide band of player skill and achievement, as it in turn divided up in 10 tiers, going from 10 to 1. Each tier requires earning a number of crowns to advance to the next tier. More on crowns below. If a player earns enough crowns in the top tier of a league, they'll be promoted to the bottom tier of the next league. For the launch of this feature, we'll have 6 leagues for players to climb: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and legend. And that is, if you remember last week, let me make sure this is not gonna blow out ears. I don't think it is. We had this teaser. I think this is muted actually. So we had this teaser showing us the different tiers. We still don't know who this character is here. This outfit. We're not sure what that is yet. We'll have to wait, I guess. Always more stuff to tease. Okay. Where were we? Okay. For example, at the time of this writing, so it's possible it could change before it actually launches, it takes 1,500 crowns to go from bronze 10 to bronze 9. What is interesting even in that is that they've put in a way for them to make changes even after their actual update. I'm pretty sure that their update has been submitted to their partners, but they have a way of changing parameters and tweaking things even just on a server without requiring like an actual game update, client update, which is important. And they're long term for just the whole game with the way the talents work and stats work in different combat situations and stuff. They're working to make all of that tweakable on the server. We don't know yet, actually, if that is all in Chapter 2, but at least we know from this that I'm pretty sure that they would be able to do that to tweak leagues things, which is important because most rank systems, from what I've heard from other players of other games who've put a lot more time into than I have, that's important, especially early on in a rank system. So, for example, oh, we just read that. Okay. If a player were in Bronze 1 and they earned 15,000 crowns, they'd be promoted to Silver 10. Okay. Once players reach the Gold League, entering a match costs crowns as well. These costs scale up in higher leagues as well. This means that if a player does not earn enough crowns in a match, they'll lose crowns and possibly drop a tier. However, every 5 tiers, we've introduced a floor that players cannot drop below. If a player manages to fight their way into Platinum 5, they won't ever drop back to Gold until the next season when things reset. So that sounds pretty similar to, you know, I've been playing a lot of Splatoon 2 on the channel. That sounds pretty similar to the rank system there, which is a little bit more casual, friendly, having that floor, letting you... Actually, this is honestly maybe even a little more friendly than that, because I think in that, if you lose a certain number of times, you get all of your progress in that grade gets erased, and you could potentially, if you lost 5, I think it's 5, matches in a row in that tier, you could get dropped down to or not tier, but grade in Splatoon. But you could get dropped all the way back down to the previous level. So this is even a little bit more forgiving than that by having that floor at the halfway point. So if you can manage to fight your way into Gold and get up to tier 5 in Gold, you can stick there for at least the rest of that season or chapter. If a player... Oh, we just read that. Okay. Until this next season when things reset. Okay, so we are getting seasons, which they say later are the same as chapters. So, you know, about 3 months, 12 weeks, plus or minus a few weeks, as we found out here. But, okay, so how does a player get crowns? This UI is so nice. And you know that this is all going to have, like, these are going to be particle effects, and these, you know, things are going to be animated in the background the same way they do in, like, the shop and stuff, and the more upgraded UI there that we have in the more recent updates. Okay, so accolades. Oh, so it's going to be very similar to, you know, we just had... Was it in the mid-chapter update? Where everything switched to accolades for XP. So that was kind of building up to this, that big change. Each league has a set of accolades that, if achieved in a match, result in a player earning a number of crowns. Players can earn numerous accolades in a single match, and they come in a variety of forms, but all generally represent good performance. Example accolades include winning a match, exiling your opponents, doing damage, and so on. Accolades also scale with performance, so doing a lot of damage is worth more than just doing a bit. It's important to note not all accolades are available in all leagues. For example, in Dominion, vanquishing Valgard NPCs awards crowns in silver rank and below, while capturing, I guess, league, silver league and below. I'm trying to get my language correct here. Okay, while capturing a zone solo is worth crowns in gold and below. Okay, so NPCs, once you get to gold, NPCs aren't worth crowns anymore, but instead capturing a zone solo is. Okay, so things like winning a match, doing damage, and so on are always worth more crowns no matter what league a player is in. You know, based on the accolades we have in Battle Royale and Clash, like, these are going to be pretty... A lot of them are just going to be things you're just going to kind of do as you're playing the mode. Players can see their current crowns for a match on the map screen. Okay, so like pressing, I think it's, I actually don't know. What do you push on PC for the map? Q? I've never played the game on PC other than like some stuff in like a GeForce Now streaming session just to like redeem codes for outfits. Let's look at this again now that we've kind of gone through the information. So this person is silver and they've earned enough accolade points here to level up to gold. So you can also see, if we pause here, you can see, let's let them all load in. So because they're in silver, this match didn't cost anything. Once you get to gold though, so you can play as much as you want to get from get through bronze and silver. There's no cost of crowns at all. But once you get above gold and above, you're gonna have to spend crowns that you earn while playing it in order to play. So they get 500, just to kind of give an idea. So if your team wins, you get 500 crowns. Shutout, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it probably has to do with like the other team didn't capture any capture points the whole game or something. They got 250 crowns for that. Lone Wolf, I would imagine that's probably like capturing a point by yourself. 200 crowns. Lane Claim, not sure what that is. It might just be like capturing an uncaptured point. I'm not sure. Lone Wolf might be like taking out a team that had a point. I'm just speculating. Backstop, not sure. Tip of the spear, some kind of damage. Total control. Might be for like holding point for a certain amount of time. And then you get 100 crowns for your first exile. Target practice, I think, is a current accolade, but I don't remember what it is. But you get a point for assist. Warm up, I think, is doing your first 100 damage. That is in Clash and stuff. Yeah. So those are just an example. So seasons. The last major point for leagues are the seasons. As it stands now, each chapter has a season tied to it 1-to-1, and the season provides a limited time for players to compete and rank up. At the end of the season, players are awarded with an exclusive season-specific title and badge based on how high they've climbed. At the start of the next season, players have their crowns reset to a lower league and will get to climb again. Unranked. Players can choose whether they want to play ranked, default, or unranked. So interesting that ranked is the default. If they want to mess around with friends or try out new builds, they can do so without risking their current rank. In a party, this choice is based on the leader's current selection, so make sure you're paying attention when you group up, make sure your leader's in the right mode. Dominion. At launch, leagues will only be enabled for Dominion based on feedback and evaluation later seasons. So for all of Chapter 2 then, that's going to be the case based on that. Later seasons may include other game modes as well. Matchmaking. Finally, matchmaking in Dominion is based on a player's current league, and the system tries to match up players of similar leagues. So think of leagues again as you like your tier that you're in. They're using a little bit different languages than some other games. So tier is the 1 through 10 within each league, and leagues are the bigger category. So the bronze, silver, gold, diamond, platinum, legend. With the launch of leagues, since all players will be in bronze at first, it'll likely take some time for things to shake out and players to reach a comfortable rank of their real skill levels. In terms of a group of players in different leagues playing on the same team, one player is in bronze and another in diamond. Matchmaking factors in all the players and their ranks to come up with a composite score that can be used to determine how they should be matched against against another team. Blech. So that to me sounds similar. I'm always comparing things to Splatoon because it's the only ranked mode I've really played a lot of. So you know, in Splatoon you have like a team score that you can see. And in Splatoon, it's a little bit different. They give you, if you're facing off a team, like if you're not totally evenly matched, if you get a win off on a really high, and a team that's ranked higher than you in that score, then you kind of get more XP and build up more, I guess what would be crowns in this mode. Just what we needed in Spellbreak, right? More different types of levels. We now have mage rank. We have chapter pass, reputation. We have class XP. We now we have crowns. So a fourth leveling system instead of the game. Let's see here. I am very excited though about better matchmaking in general. Basically the first couple weeks for players that are over level 23 now are going to be exactly what they are right now. But then after those weeks, the kind of higher tier players are going to be off in their own matchmaking pool. Us casual players, more casual players, can have some fun. By us, I mean me. I think there's some not so casual players that watch this stream, but let me 1 sec here. I want to make sure. Yeah, Jesse is going to be streaming here. So we might do some gameplay, and then I don't have it set up where I can share audio of that stream here, but I might just listen to it and just kind of be casual and chill, do some gameplay, maybe ponder and muse about what all this means for the long term of the game a little bit more. Be very like, you know, our stream is pretty chill usually anyways. Then we'll be ultra chill. Okay. So that'll be interesting. At least it's not like now. So like right now, the way the matchmaking works is it defaults to whoever the highest player is, but that doesn't really make sense when you have 5 people, because you could have like one person who's in like diamond or something. If you have a friend who's just been grinding and is, you know, god status in the game basically, but you're down in the rest of your whole team is all in bronze and you're just more casual players, like it wouldn't make sense for you then to all be fighting against bronze. I mean, even so I play some Fortnite off stream, and I play with my sibling, and they play the game way more than me and are way better at than me. So whenever I play with them, I end up playing in really tough lobbies because there's skill-based matchmaking and it's based off whoever has the highest in your squad. So I hope that they did a good job. I will say that when we had real skill-based matchmaking for like those few days before it got turned off, way back in the launch of chapter 1, those were some of the best days of me playing Spellbreak ever. I had the greatest lobbies ever. They were super challenging, but not so challenging that I couldn't win, or that it wasn't just a really like evenly matched fight. So if that was even like a taste of what they've got going on here, I'll be pretty hopeful. Obviously player population plays a part in all of that, but we are really helped out by the fact that this is not in Battle Royale. This is only in Dominion. It does sound like it might affect your Battle Royale matchmaking too. We don't have all the details on that yet. But it should be pretty interesting. I'm excited. I'm excited for better matchmaking overall. I think it will really help with player retention too, rather than us just being stuck in this level split that we've had for all of chapter 1. It was really like a stopgap. And it hasn't been that fun. We had like thousands and thousands of people come to the game and then leave because, you know, they're playing against the competitive folks who grind the game 6 to 8 hours a day. But anyways, rant over. I am excited is the moral of the story. Not really ranting, I'm just, you know, discussing. But okay. Okay, matchmaking also attempts to balance teams based on stacking, such that if there's a team of 5 players grouped together going in, they'll be matched against a similarly organized team. Now, I don't know when they say stacking if they're taking into account classes or if it's just that it's a team of 5 people that are all an actual squad versus people like solo queuing or like queuing in smaller groups of like 2 or 3 or 4, I guess. But that's pretty interesting. I'm glad that they're aware and taking that into account when they can, again, based on, you know, number of people queuing and player population. Your mileage may vary depending on your region. Okay, an important note, the ranked and unranked queues feed into the same matchmaking pool. This is to ensure matchmaking times stay reasonable for everyone. There's some additional logic at play to ensure things are still fair, so you shouldn't see someone in Diamond playing unranked against a bunch of bronze players in ranked, but we're going to keep an eye on it post-launch. That part, if there's anything out of everything and all these announcements that has me a little like, and questioning, I guarantee you this is about player population. They wouldn't be making this choice if they didn't have to, based on where the player population is right now. So again, let's hope that there's, not let's hope, we know there's going to be a big marketing push for chapter 2. There's going to be another new surge of players. They're going to try to get back people that have played before, based just on like comments in the subreddit. People that I see in the subreddit who are very negative about the game have just said they've given up on it, but still somehow are very active in a subreddit about a month later. Reacted very positive to the news. I haven't delved too deeply here into the leagues thing because we were more like prepping to go on stream and stuff, and walking my dog and having lunch. but on the Dominion post yesterday, very positive reaction from people who seemed like they were like still on the periphery of the community, still kind of trolling and saying dead game, but now saying like they're willing to reinstall and give this a try because it sounds great. So I'm hopeful that that's going to be the case for a lot of people. I think a lot of people just don't like Battle Royale is the gist of it, and we have something that sounds so cool and so fun. I'm so excited. Okay. But what's weird about this to me, I'm just still harping on this part, that ranked and unranked queues are in the same matchmaking pool, is to me that means that like they mentioned that you could play unranked and that you could have a more casual experience and like try out new builds, practice with your team without it affecting your rank. Yeah, so there's going to be people doing that, and then they're going to be in a match with someone who's in a ranked mode. So it just, that seems like it's going to make up some weird games to me, because one team is going to be trying as hard as they possibly can to win, and the other team is just playing in an unranked mode. So maybe that'll actually, I mean, maybe it'll make things better for more casual players because, you know, you will be trying your hardest and the other team that you're matched up with might just be in an unranked game and they're gonna try, but they're not gonna try as hard as you are if you're like on the verge of ranking down if you don't win this one or something, you know. I don't know, interesting. I understand, you know, game, I always talk about this. I in general in life, I always try to look at things from another person's perspective, be empathetic, think about the decisions they had to make, where they could be coming from. Things are always more complex than you think they are, especially in game development. Like, it's a series of running a big project like this, which a game is always a series of compromises. You're trying to do the best that you can, then you have reality. And all these different factors you have to like account for and work around. And this feels like that. Let's hope the player population just explodes or gets back to where it was like at the beginning of chapter 1, and that this isn't a big issue long term. Yeah. Wrapping up, one last thing, we expect to be iterating on leagues based on metrics and your feedback. Simulations and models can only go so far. We'll need long-term player data to help balance it. Like we pointed out too, I think that it sounds from that one line in here earlier that they'll have the ability, hopefully, to do some of those tweaks just server side, and that it's not going to require client updates. So I have not gone through. We didn't really do that for this other one. Let's just real quick go through on Dominion. We'll go through some of Dan Ogle's things. Speaking of Dan Ogles and Jesse, let me pull up their stream that they're gonna do. Oh, I guess it's mostly gonna be Jesse. I can't share the audio with you all. So I'm just gonna have it on in the background here for myself. I can share the link in chat. If you want to listen along too. We're wrapping things up though. I'm just gonna kind of go over, he's not live yet. But we'll go through their answers to things here in the comments from yesterday and today's posts, and then we will do some gameplay, chill, hang out. I'm gonna hang out and listen. I'll probably hang out until for the next hour, until the chapter officially ends, and I want to see what happens. I want to see if the game melts down as unusable until chapter 2 launches, if there's a secret chapter 2 teaser or League's teaser. We do know that there was League's assets inside of the last update. So I guess we'll see what happens. I don't think anything big or crazy is going to happen. I think realistically it's probably like we're just going to get a vanilla mode of the game for, you know, hopefully like a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most. Who knows? Chapter 2 could launch tomorrow. I doubt it, but it's possible. Anyways, okay. So since there have been some questions about RNG in the community, this is about Dominion again. You can guarantee you start every match with a rune and offhand gauntlet you want, but you might need to spend some precious rerolls. So we talked about that. The rune/gauntlet boon options offered are always one tier higher than the one currently in your inventory. In other words, you'll always be moving upward in rarity no matter which option you pick. There's a guarantee that if one of the 3 options is an offhand gauntlet type other than the one you have equipped, then the rune option will be an upgrade for the one you have equipped. Oh, so that's actually really nice. Kind of a mouthful, but the gist is there is always at least one option offered that is a straight upgrade of something you already have equipped. Okay, that's actually, I read this before, but I didn't actually pick up on this last part, or I didn't like totally understand the impact of it. That's actually pretty good. So every boon, so every time you get a boon gem, or every time you get exiled, if you don't have one and you go to the merchant, you're going to get an upgrade of either one of your gauntlets or a rune that you already have. So it is important actually to, I think, get things that you want. So I think the early reroll might be the play, to get what really the build that you want, if possible. Okay, are there potions? Yes, Valguards drop potions and you keep them across respawns. I think we mentioned that earlier because I have read through most of these, but so some of them I may have worked in their answers into when we went over it earlier. Do blessings stack infinitely? Okay, no, you'll stop getting further blessings for that type once you've reached plus 100 max mana, plus 100 armor, or plus 9 run speed. Caveat, not including talents or base values. For example, with dexterity, you max at 3 base move speed, plus 3 from dexterity, plus 9 from blessings, so an actual max of plus 15. That is very fast. So I think right now with legendary boots and with escapists, you only get to 9. I think that's right. So if you get max run speed, you are just gonna be zooming. It's gonna be really useful actually in the mode, right? Because you're gonna want to kind of be a scout and see where the other team is at. You might want to quick run over and try to capture a point. This person's comment, I'm gonna be the Flash. It's true. Okay, is there a way to spectate Dominion matches? Not for 3.0, which is chapter 2, even though the number in there is a little confused. Launch, which is kind of disappointing. It's really going to make things with the element competitive stuff pretty hard to do here. Okay, is capture progress saved? If I have spent 8 seconds capturing the zone, step off for a second to dodge dragon fireball, will that progress disappear instantly? Progress will drain over time, but fairly quickly. Okay, so you really are gonna have to like maintain control over the point. Do blessings have a cap, or can I stack plus 18 move speed? Mentioned in, okay, yeah, plus 15 if you're running dexterity. You will be able to play Dominion in ranked or unranked. Yeah, we learned that in our coverage about today's leagues announcements. Okay, if 3 teammates are capturing and 1 enemy runs in, it stops the capture. Correct. The capture will be paused. The enemy also doesn't have to be inside the arena, just nearby, within a couple meters or so. So that's pretty interesting. So you really are going to not have to just control the point, but you're going to need to control the area around it. And because some of these are up on towers, these capture points, it's possible for, especially if they have invis, maybe for the other team to kind of sneak up and be on the base of it. You will get a notification after you obviously see that it's contested, but pretty interesting. Fascinating to see how that plays out in actual gameplay. Okay, this is what we did talk about earlier too. So that we unload the rest of the world when in Dominion, as it's hidden behind the red storm. Along with other chapter 2 performance improvements, you should definitely see a difference. And this person's question you'll see here is specifically asking about Switch frame rate. So if you're a Switch player, good news for you. We should be seeing some like performance improvements, which if you're a Switch player, you know that you need it. Because performance on the Switch is not great for this game. Okay, so what weapon will a Valguard use? This we talked about, I think, earlier. So Valguards are against others using magic. They're jerks like that. They fire arcane magic shots. The default attack, the default offhand, the noodle. Okay, so it's the same weak arcane spell. I don't remember if we talked about that earlier or not. Okay, what if a player leaves the match? Does that team have to 4v5? Let me make sure I have Jesse's thing pulled up. He did go live. I was waiting for it. So it's just had silence. Okay, what if a player leaves the match? Team get an AI or some other buff to replace the difference. If clash is any indication, I can see a lot of lopsided games in player count. Yeah, and this is something that also will make a difference in that ranked unranked sharing a matchmaking pool. Okay, hold on. Let me adjust my audio of Jesse's stream here because we're still going over stuff. Okay. Okay, so teams with a lower player count will get a decrease to their respawn timer, so it'll be less than 15 seconds. Obviously, that's sub-ideal to have players leave mid-match, but rank matches will have further penalties for leaving early. More details soon. So I'm trying to think of that. So maybe that would kind of counter what we were just pontificating. Is there a limit on boon gems? So it's 3. We know that. Ideally, you charge it to 90%, get exile to restore max health armor, and get a boon. Then complete your gem for another boon, plus 2 more. Oh, that's a weird question. If you get a free boon due to having less than 1 charge, you'll always respawn with 0% charge. Okay, yeah, that's good. In the same vein, if you self-exile in the border zone, do you get a boon roll for no point cost? You do not. If you self-team, Storm, or Valguard die, only if another player exiles you. You have to wait for respawn regardless. The other team gets a point whenever you die, multiplied by their capture bonus. So it kind of counters people self-exiling to Storm and stuff. So here's confirmation of Richard's question earlier. Will the class mastery system continue into season 2? We'll be grinding on class emos I want over the next 23 hours. It will continue into season 2. So here's confirmation. Gauntlet shrines will not be active in this mode. You can see I answered there, or speculated, but my speculation was wrong. There is no spectator mode for 3.0. Definitely something we'll consider adding down the road. Someone asking about area of effect, AoE damage. Dragonfire and lightning sorcery definitely sound like they could be important. And mode definitely changes the impact of sorceries, in our opinion, for the better, obviously. What I'll say is that standing still inside the capture radius for extended periods of time is not recommended. Yeah, but because if you go out, so interesting. Again, like I wish we had gameplay video. With Spellslinger, if you pick up a gauntlet rune that isn't in your inventory, it will be added to your hotbar. Okay. That we know. There's a fairly short maximum height above the zone in order to be contested. So it's not like they could just feather fall or fly high above. It's approximately levitation height. So that's interesting. And then we're back to the beginning. Okay. So I don't know. I think Jesse was the one answering questions here. So will there be a leaderboard for leagues? No. It's a list of future possible improvements. So some people in the community, especially the more competitive players and the people that compete in tournaments, want like a top 100 leaderboard. That's not happening for right now, but something they'll consider. What's the maximum and average crowns a player will get in game? So max is something like 6,000, but that's fairly unlikely. These are all about leagues too, the ranked system. We finished all the Dominion questions. A good game is about 2,500, while a bad game is around 650 or thereabout. It's hard to say, and they're very abstract. I think we don't know though like once you get to gold, we don't know the cost to play a match of ranked. So you have to spend those crowns. So like combination XP and currency kind of in-game currency. Kind of like what is it? Fortnite has a somewhat similar type of thing for their are all maps for Dominion included in leagues? Yes. Is there still a level 23 veteran matchmaking system? There are more matchmaking updates as part of this release, but they're not saying what those are yet. So very interested to know about that. Is it possible to... Sorry, trying to listen to the live audio of the other stream. We're talking about, so one of Crash's questions, Crash is another content creator for the game, if you aren't familiar, was about RNG with armor, and they're talking about how they've iterated and done a bunch of playtesting. Okay. Sounds like RNG. It's not a big issue. You might not get what you want right away, but and that's important to keep track of in all this, is this mode is something they've been working on for a long time. Clash, we got Clash in the prologue, but Clash was basically unchanged from all the way back in like beta. So I would guess that they've actually been working on this new game mode since like shortly after then, if not like the entire time since release. I'm sure they've done different playtests and over all that time and iterated it internally. Okay, so is it possible to ever lose crowns when winning a match but having terrible personal performance? Yes, especially in higher leagues. Is it possible to drop rank when below gold? No. Can a high rank player in the same team as a low rank player? Yes, matchmaking adjusts accordingly. So that's what we talked about earlier. There's not going to be any outfit rewards for reaching a certain rank, only badges and titles. And that's it. That's all we got from them so far. So I mean, that's a lot of information, obviously. We've been talking here for over 2 hours. So, here we are. Are you excited? I'm excited. I'm like losing my voice, honestly. I kind of want to do some gameplay and listen to Jesse and Dan muse about the game in the background and just kind of chat casually with you all. Think a little bit more about all this now that I've gone through it quite a bit before stream, but I feel like I have a better grasp of everything now, which is good. So let's cut over to some gameplay. They're answering my question. They do drop gauntlets and runes, so that's good to know. The Vow Guards. So we'll cut over to this. We'll try some Clash. I don't know. So lobbies have been a little hard to come by. I did play a little bit of this game of Spellbreak last night. I still have not been playing as much as what I normally do, just because the state of the game right now. Like this update could not come soon enough. Like I hope it comes at 5. I don't think that's happening, but so they are saying that the Vow Guards could possibly drop epic loot, but it seems like they mostly drop rare loot and below. And then you have to upgrade through the merchant to get beyond that. Okay. So you'll see I haven't even finished my stone quest from last week. Just kind of sad. But, oh, this hasn't updated yet. Oh, daylight savings time. My shop used to update at 4 p.m. my time, and now it's going to be 5 p.m. my time. That's weird. I guess it's all based on UTC. So this is yesterday's shop. We have seen, I believe, all of this before. I do like this. I'm not going to buy any more Cloudbursts. Unless there's some cool ones like the Dragon and Wolf one. Maybe I'll buy some more of those, but I typically just use my same Rainbow Prismatic Flare one, so I'm not going to spend more money on it. Make sure I have crossplay on. Last night when I played, I was getting like 2v2s or 3v3 clashes, which were actually fun. The like early part of it was very slow. It took like 5 minutes to get into it. So Clash is going away. Oh gosh, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. It could come back. Like if the player population can support all the modes, I'm sure. I mean, they will like with duos. Once duos able to come back. Me also really quick look at, now that we're done going through all that detailed information, some of the stuff in my notes I just kind of worked in organically while we were talking, but let me make sure there was stuff I didn't want to talk about that I didn't. So I'm gonna keep like sharing details of what Jesse and Deanna are talking about on their stream, since I can't share the audio. But they're talking about how people asked about how the Vow Keepers, like, they actually had to tune them down. They said they were too accurate, like 3, because they spawn in pairs of 3, right? And they kind of like guard one area. So they said that like 3 of them all firing weak arcane spells actually was more powerful than they thought it would be, and they had to kind of nerf it. But it sounds like they don't have a ton of HP. I didn't totally hear what they said. It sounded like it was like 1 epic fireball might be enough to take one of them out. So they're kind of like walking chests that fight back a little bit. It's the way you can kind of think of the Vow Keepers. So all of this looting phase just gone. You're just straight into action with a common main gauntlet with a common offhand gauntlet, which may or may not be the one that you want, but and a rune. And the equivalent of blue boots and blue amulet. So you can actually do quite a bit with that, right? It's not like the most amazing kit ever, but then, like we said, everybody is kind of going to be, especially early on in the match, everyone is going to be pretty similarly spec'd out in terms of like level. So it will be really nice. I mean, that is definitely the worst part of Clash. Is this boring looting phase at the beginning. Unless you like looting, I don't know. Like my husband loves looting in games. He started playing Fortnite recently and he's not very good at it. So it's mostly a looting and dying simulator when he's not playing Team Rumble, which is like the Fortnite equivalent of Clash. It is going to be a little different because the quests are all going to be still Battle Royale based, I'm pretty sure. You might have like daily quests maybe that are, would be like Dominion related, but like story quests, I'm 99% sure are going to be all Battle Royale. So it might be a little sweatier to get those completed, not having a Clash mode that you can kind of safely navigate around half the map without worrying about enemies for the most part. Ooh, so someone asked if the Vanguard were exclusive to the Dominion game mode, and the answer was you'll have to wait and see. Which I think means they're probably not. They're probably, at the very least, like in the BR story somehow. They neither confirm nor deny that the snowy area is Banehelm. It's like breaking news here. They're again confirming no new gauntlet in Chapter 2. Focus on the game mode and leagues, which Ogle said on the Discord a while ago, and then Seth confirmed on his stream, Office Hours stream last week. Oh, you can jump and levitate while you're recalling and move. So it's an 8-second timer to recall. You can move around still, kind of like when you're potting. I bet you, if I could imagine what the recall animation is, you know, when you're spawning from the lobby, like holding map to go to Battle Royale, and you lift your hand up and like have a orb come out of your hand. It's probably that animation. Or maybe one of the like magical wave your hands around while you're activating the Aegis Tower or something. So they did confirm when you respawn, you're dropping. You can move around some. So remember, you respawn on death, you respawn. If your team's holding a capture point, you respawn on that capture point. If your team's not holding any capture points, then you respawn at one of two starting spawn points. They're laughing about Dragonfire being very powerful to get people off of control points, which definitely I'm feeling good about my time investment in Dragonfire in Battle Royale. I'm gonna die here. 1 second from zone. I'm so excited about this mode. Oh, I wish it was out. I kind of wish we just knew when to. I don't know why they're being so... They must not for sure know yet when, or they would have said it, I feel like. I can't imagine that their intention was to get to this date where it was the end of the chapter extension and still not know what the release date is. I'm pretty bad here. I am, again, not used to this. I'm not used to not having recovery. I'm not used to not having, I changed last week on stream when we did some gameplay at the end. I did change up my build to be things that weren't in the new talent build. So I got rid of recovery, got rid of scavenging. They said the damage dealt requirement to get a boon charge gem is like, they actually don't know the exact number off the top of their heads, but they said it's a few hundred. But they can't remember the exact number because they've like reiterated it and tweaked it a few times. So this is actually, we're zooming here. This is, let's see, let's do the math. I think this is like an 8. Oh, they do know the release date. I think they just got it. They're not sharing it. So mean. That's So mean. There is no respawn. There's no orbs. Actually got a pretty good lobby here. I didn't really look at that because we were too busy chatting and the map snow does not have elemental interactions. But maybe in the future, it sounds like. Say it's more like patchy snow, so it's just like it's visual. So it is possible they're talking about like people spawn camping, so that is possible. You know, if their team holds all the points, I mean, or just is keeping your team from holding any points, then folks could spawn or camp the. It was a pretty crummy game on my part, but mostly just chatting. The gameplay is just me kind of mindlessly doing something while we're still just sitting here hanging out, chatting. There is still so much to Dan Ogles teased this the other day, but there's still a lot we don't know. Like we don't know you know, like any of those matchmaking changes. There's a ton of class and other balance changes, gauntlet changes coming, rune changes coming. We don't have any of those details yet. So they did confirm that shared ranked unranked Dominion matchmaking pool is currently necessary. So that's what we speculated. They said it's actively going to be monitored and tweaked depending on feedback. So remember too that ranked is the default mode. So, and I think that sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm not the greatest multitasker. This is you know, after 2 hours of like chapter 2 game mode and ranked, class. I feel like I was running a class on it almost. Not that bad. um, Wait, what? Can someone who queued for unranked end up on my team when I queued for ranked? And the answer was they're not sure. TBD actually was the answer, which I think is I think they have to see what happens in real life once people are playing the system they've set up. Probably based on player population, I would guess, also. Ooh. Trying to make sure my chat is still pulled up. People aren't. I think we just got some lurkers going on, but that's fine. Hi, lurkers. I am also often just a lurker in people's chat. I like watching streams while I'm busy working on other projects and stuff. But I don't. It's hard for me to like be active in chat when I'm doing that. But I appreciate you. I see you. I see you lurking. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Teleport. Who's that? It's probably Crashy. On his stream yesterday was saying teleport will probably be pretty powerful. I can definitely see that in the new mode. Because things are kind of spaced out. At least in the Himwood map, it's the one map that we've seen the most of. It's kind of like from here to that house, maybe between points. So it gives you kind of an idea. Kind of like spatially what you're doing. And that's teleport range, right? So we don't have updraft yet. Pretty decent player is unlikely to reach diamond in their first season. Wow. A really good player could probably hit it in about a month. If you played a lot. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm fully expecting to just be in like bronze or silver. Plastic and Wind. Oh, I guess I'll keep this. Maybe I can finish this quest in the next 20 minutes. I doubt it. The grind really kicks in gold once you start losing crowns when you lose matches. And then wraps up pretty significantly in platinum and diamond, so. Oh, that didn't work out well for them. They DF'd themselves. DF-nated themselves. Oh, I totally goofed that teleport. I've not run teleport recently. Capture zones are pretty small, which we tell. Lightning storm-ish sized. Maybe slightly bigger. Which is about what we saw. Sounds like getting to legend is gonna be like actual, like it's gonna be Megaverse. Little DF NATO there. Who knows, if we have a good couple games here, we actually could finish this quest. I'd be shocked. Oh, I got a buff. Didn't even realize I had a buff. Did I just get it? I should have run ambi so I could have done those toxic puddle gas cloud things. Not. It sounds like the more they talk about the Valguard, it's not like they're going to be like the IO guards or anything inside of Fortnite. They're not anywhere near that difficulty. They're kind of just like I said, like walking chests with like 50 HP or something. A lot of toxic tornado damage here. We're talking about how it might be fun in future seasons to kind of tweak the difficulty of the Valguard characters. capture zones while in midair, like we talked about earlier. There is about the cap of levitation height. But you can also do it while you're invisible, which is interesting. Interesting playstyle. You will still get a notification, I think, or be able to see in the HUD icons for the different zones when they're being contested. So your other team would still know, but you'd have an advantage maybe sneaking up on it. Oops, why didn't that go off? Teammate still in my kills. You can capture a zone while in Rebirth, which is the rename for Battlestone. So you'd be invincible for those, how many seconds? Four seconds invincibility. It's interesting. Battlestone buff. Battlestone needs a buff to 10 seconds. Ouch. I'm gonna keep playing Tempest. Who knows? I might actually finish that quest. Excuse me. I burped. And maybe the mic didn't even maybe pick it up, in which case you're like, what are you excusing yourself for? No, I did not fart. There are no class locks in ranked. That we knew, though. Something they considered, but not doing. Yeah, that makes sense. They're talking about how, like, we'll let you win. Nice. Probably want toxic, though, so I can continue my quest. Saying they don't have the number of gauntlet classes, you know, and always, you know, player population to be able to support something like class locking. Because I think sorry, there's like a fire alarm going off on their stream. I had to remove my headphones for a sec. Really loud beepy noise in my ear. Maybe I'll continue trying to run teleport. I don't run it very often, but it's gonna be strong, I think, in the new mode, so I'll get some practice in. Let me also, it's so quiet here other than just game noise, so let me turn on some background music. Oops, that's my doggy barking. I did add that little graphic and fix it from the other day. Tweaked it a little bit. Thought I added, oh there. Should be background music. There we go. Useful, especially since I'm like in like chill mode here. It's so hard not to grab Spring Stat. I do still have Focus Mana on here. I thought I took it off. Maybe I didn't do it on Tempest. Fervor too. Just want a Toxic Gauntlet. I feel like I've opened 100 chests. Why haven't I gotten a Toxic Gauntlet? So somebody asked again about a spectator mode, which is like basically necessary almost for competitive events. As you think about it right now, for the competitive events, the way that they stream those for Element is they have 2 observer people queue into the map with all the players, and then those people self-exile by jumping in the fracture. And then they're able to spectate, but there's no way in a 5v5 mode for them to queue with everybody else, and there's no spectating anyways. So the only really way they could do it is if they stream people's streams, and then you get into a whole weird issue where everybody may not be totally synchronized. They're not. People are asking, like, what are good builds to run? And Jesse is like, nope, not gonna answer. We put the work in to design it and test it, and now it's up to you all to figure it out. So I actually respect that. I'm sure he actually does know what's really powerful. I asked a question about what happens if they're in the unlikely event of a tie at the end of the time, the 15 minutes in Dominion, but I didn't get an answer, or I missed it. I would assume there's like an overtime mechanic like there is in Overwatch or Splatoon or... Sometimes those overtime mechanics have like weird caveats. Like, I don't understand Splatoon's overtime, really. It doesn't totally make sense to me, like, when it gives up on ouch. Why didn't that go? Teleport, work! Or I feel like saying like, teleport, ho! Like, onward, ho? I don't know. Being silly. Oh, it's a light show. The the light show will be what I miss most about the Juggernaut. Honestly, I kind of want to screen cap that. actually a good tornado. They like they don't know how the mechanic works where you don't want to jump. You want to use your broom to get away or run on the ground. You jump, it sucks you in more. Oh my gosh. Fire alarm is going off in my ear again. You're so close to exiting them. They are wiping the lobby, Mr. Pickles. Oh, the chapter 1 is over, folks. We hit the time. I don't think I'm gonna complete this quest, which I kind of knew going into this, but I figured it was fun to try. Okay, let's see what happens here. Probably nothing. I think my guess is it's gonna go like back to just like a vanilla state of the game. Yeah, look, all chapters just grayed out. Our quests went away. Other than our, kind of curious if we like totally quit out. Okay, so chapter pass just done. You can't even look at it anymore. That I wasn't expecting, but I guess it makes sense. Shop update. This has been in the shop recently, but I think we didn't stream the days that I was in there. So this is in Fort Halcyon, the giant statues there are the same type of character, I think. This is the Frost Elemental, so this is one of my little update, which we have seen in their Dominion teasers, the Pyro class skin like that, upgrading. I like that one. I like this one a lot too. But we have too many outfits that we never wear. That one's funny, but a little toxic. I'll skip it. I like the tongue waggle though. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. It's a little bit weird I'll say this. So it's a little bit weird that they told us that they couldn't just take out the Juggernaut buff without breaking the game, and yet here we are. Maybe they wanted to give people the opportunity. There's more people than maybe the folks that play the game all the time realize that had not finished the chapter pass yet. And maybe they want to give the people the opportunity to do that. It's also possible someone I saw mentioned the idea that they were trying to get data about time to kill with the health for the Juggernaut, with the Juggernaut buff. They wanted more data. It could be a combination of those things. I know there's probably going to be a portion of the community that's really upset that here we just have what they asked for 2 or 3 weeks ago, which is just a vanilla version of the game. But those same people would have been complaining that the meta hadn't changed anyways. But anyways. Nothing exciting. No big reveal. Hopefully get a reveal tomorrow or the next day about a release date. I picked Stone Shaper just for that quest, but I'm not actually that excited about playing Stone Shaper here. But that's okay. I really should have played Toxic. Trying to switch things up and not just play Winds. None of that quest is gone now anyways. I do have this quest still, which eventually I'll need to finish. It's a daily, but it just never goes away. Feels so slow without any boots. Something else I'm curious about. Kind of hope they don't do it yet, actually. Is they announced way back in November that there would be Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 optimized versions of the game that have not come out. The PS4 version does run much better on the PlayStation 5, but it doesn't get any upgraded visuals. Doesn't run in 4K. And there is a visual glitch there for the chapter pass being taken out, but I probably should have landed like Bogmore or something. We tried to do that last week on our stream where we were scouting around. I feel like this storm came in before we really got a good sense of where maps could be. I think this is probably gonna be our last game here. And then barring any major news, you know, chapter 2 just magically drops later this week. You know, obviously we'll reshuffle the schedule. And would maybe do like some bonus streams or something for chapter 2, but I don't foresee that happening. It sounds from some of the stuff that they were talking about on their stream that I didn't really mention was Jesse's been doing demos, so usually that would be like with media people. So think more like along the lines of like the chapter 1 rollout, or like a week or two before we got that IGN article and video. But otherwise, we're going to do Thursday Spellbreak. I'm not sure what we're going to do Friday. It's listed as a mystery stream. So they basically said that we're not going to be hearing any more from the two of them, Jesse or Dan Ogles, for the rest of this week, but we'll be hearing more info and teasers from other people that will be useful. So that to me says that we really are going to be in like just kind of this limbo downtime. At least the game is running. Some people were thinking like the game's not even going to be able to run. We're just going to be in total downtime. At least it's not that. The Element competitive folks are actually going to be happy that the buff is gone. Maybe we'll get some casted scrims and stuff on Twitch from them. Nice. Also nice. A little recovery scroll. Some purple booties. Might get over here to zone, do some stone slamming. This is actually a good end zone for stone. Ooh, nice fireball there. Could use a better rune for sure. How did that not hit? How did that not hit? This person doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but you know, maybe they're new. Like they could have gone invisible. They have a invis. But, oh well. You live, you learn, you get exiled, you learn. Nice mid-air boulder there. Sometimes my boulders are a little iffy. A little questionable. That was pretty good. That one not so much. Featherfall is definitely a good counter to stone here. But not good enough. Oh, I'm still running my chapter 1 builds here. I didn't change the talents for stone either. That's okay. I'll try to remember to do that next time we play this. Unless it's chapter 2. That'll be so exciting. Based on what they've done before, they usually have released big patches on Monday or Tuesday. At least recently, I think that's been true most of the time. So that would mean next week at the earliest. They could surprise me. I'm sure that they want to get out as soon as possible, but they also, you know, need to do their whole media rollout and stuff. They want to build hype, which I'd rather, you know, as much as I want to play the game, I want the game to do well long term. So whatever's best for the game. Even if that means we need to like just hang out and chill. Ooh, that was a really nice long distance fire, but kind of total accident. But those are always satisfying still to hit. Here, as long as we're just hanging out, definitely I did add some little overlays and stuff to OBS, spruce up the stream a little bit. If you're not already, you can see my Twitter name there on screen, Happy Little Gamer. There's also a link for it down in the description if you want to be sure to get all the Spellbreak news as soon as it's happening, get updates about stream schedule, see some extra content and clips, interact with me, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I usually, if you don't have notifications here on YouTube turned on, I usually am posting not just updates about the schedule, but I usually post right before the stream starts every time too. Just so people there know what the deal is. I didn't even get to use I worked so hard on figuring all that out. Actually, it helped. It helped on a lot of different things. It kind of helped standardize the way my layouts work with the audio and stuff, which is something that I had been struggling with. So now I just kind of have one kind of global overlay scene in OBS that I can add to any new scenes, and then I'll have all the audio working properly and visible so I can adjust things and And overlays and stuff too. Only have a couple overlays. But lost them in the sky. Pop. It's gonna be weird not getting loot out of exiles in the new mode. We will get scrolls. Sounds like you will for sure get a scroll. And if you're running Curious, you'll get a chance of getting 2 scrolls. So see, I'd be dead if we were in Dominion right now, touching the zone. Just gonna want to stay like as far away as you possibly can from the zone, because you're not even going to risk it. I think I'm trying to like plan. It's been really hard with this rollout for chapter 2, planning stream schedules, because I've been having to be kind of like flexible enough to say like I'll do a Spellbreak stream if there's Spellbreak news, but then you get a situation like last Friday where we didn't get a lot of big news and we'd already kind of gone over things early in the week. So for next week, I think I'm gonna stick to our regular kind of Tuesday, Thursday for sure. I might only do Tuesday, Thursday and then leave everything else as bonus to his bonus streams, so I can be flexible with announcements. But like I said, I think we should have an announcement by this Friday of when we'll be getting chapter 2. That they said today, or they said it yesterday actually, when they gave the 24-hour notice for the end of chapter 1. So that will be exciting. Definitely we'll share that on Twitter, and we'll probably talk about it on Thursday and Friday's stream, at least real quick whenever we know that info. But like I said, I think after our masterclass in chapter 2 Dominion game mode and the league's rank system, we're gonna leave it there for today. Make sure my camera is looking good here. the sun is setting in real life, so gotta adjust my lighting a little bit, although it's just, you know, I'm just a big pink purple blob anyways here. But thank you so much for watching. Let me pop up the stream schedule again really quick. So 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. Thursday, we're going to be playing Splatoon 2. We're going to be playing with viewers, too. So if you were here earlier, Retro Squirtle has been very active in chat. And on my Thursday Splatoon streams, I've been playing some games with them. They finally got, I think they finally ranked up to be above B-, so they can do leagues battles. So we're gonna do viewer leagues battles on Thursday. So if you're into Splatoon 2, definitely join us if you can live. And we'll be trying to team up and play against other folks. I've never done them before, so we'll have to see how it works. I'll watch some videos and stuff in the next few days to kind of feel it out and figure it out first, so we're not just doing it live on stream for the first time. But excited for that. Friday, I'm not sure what we're doing yet. It's gonna be a variety stream. I had scheduled the stream then because I thought what was gonna happen is this league's info was gonna come out on Friday. So when I set the schedule, that's what I set it as. But like I said, I think for next week what I'm gonna do is just only schedule Tuesday, Thursday, and even if we end up doing the same Tuesday, Friday, Saturday we've been doing with those bonus streams, I want to be able to be flexible. But I also, just for my own life and everything else I have to get done right now, I can't be streaming every day. So you know, if the game Chapter 2 comes out on Monday next week, I will do a bonus stream on Monday, even though I'll overlap with Crashy. No one will watch me except the few lovely, loyal folks who visit and chat with us, but that's okay. It'll still be exciting. We'll all experience it together. Yeah. So if you haven't already too, for the bonus and weekend variety streams, either follow me on Twitter, there's a link in the description there, or you can see my Twitter handle, Happy Little LIL Gamer on Twitter, or you can just hit subscribe here on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications, and we'll send you a notification, or YouTube will send you a notification whenever we go live. I would appreciate it, enjoyed the content, if you hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm know that you enjoyed it and helps share and spread those rainbow and sunshine vibes with other people. And if you haven't already, I'd also appreciate if you hit subscribe. I'm a new channel, just started streaming within the last few months. I'm trying to get to 1,000, and if you look at our subscriber count, we're still pretty low, but that's okay. We've been growing. It was just stuck at like 3 subscribers for a while. So slowly but surely we'll keep growing and building our happy little gaming community. We're trying to make a community that's fun, inclusive, supportive, non-toxic. I hope that sounds good to you, and I hope you'll join us. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.